Good morning, Flosstube. I'm Misty Purcell. Welcome to my channel. Today is Wednesday, the 12th of June. Coming back a few days later than I intended to. Life has been pretty busy. I had a jury duty summons a couple weeks ago, basically right after I did my last video. And I had it actually for October, but I requested that I either be rescheduled or excused because it was in the middle of the semester and I didn't want to be gone potentially for I didn't know how long when my students would be needing me and there could be an exam, etc. So anyway, they took me up on the rescheduling option and rescheduled me for Monday of last week. So I went to the courthouse, and this was only the second time that I've had to report for jury duty, and the first time I've had to do it in Pennsylvania. So like immediately they called me right up into the jury box. I think it was like number 7, first thing in the morning. I went through the whole process for the first trial, but they were all criminal cases. And then in the end, when we went to the next room for them to determine which people would actually be serving on the jury, they nixed me for some reason. So then I went back out and didn't get selected, and they happily, some cases in the afternoon got rescheduled and I got to go home early. So I took my crocheted pumpkin doily and worked on that at different points during the day. I felt sorry for all the other people who didn't have a craft to do while they were there. I did see a lady measuring out skeins of strands of a skein of floss that she was cutting to go in. I don't know if she was cross stitching. I didn't see where she went, but she may have been embroidering or cross stitching while she was there. I also, over the weekend, went to Pittsburgh and heard the symphony play Beethoven, which was fun. And there was a lot going on that day. On Sunday, there was a pride parade and an art festival. So it was just really busy, but it was cool to walk around and see all that was going on. It's very, very loud. There was a very loud guy playing bagpipes. And then one of the other things I've been doing lately is I participated in the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch Take 3 that Jen Lee organized, and it was a lot of fun. I'm so glad that I did it. So that was this past weekend. It went from 4 p.m. Friday to 4 p.m. Sunday. And so I looked at my calendar and thought, well, I can probably do about 10 hours between Friday and Sunday, especially knowing that I was going to be gone Sunday to attend that symphony performance. So then I thought about what I wanted to get done, and I thought I'd like to spend about 3 hours per project, and that I had mentioned, I don't know, maybe I just thought it in my head, but I wanted to do a new start during the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. So if I were to do 3 hours per project, I thought I needed to do about 12 hours. And I didn't manage 12, I managed 10. I will plan to participate in the next Take 4 in August, and I'll try to get more stitching in, and I'll try to clear my schedule a bit more so that I can do that. Fingers crossed that I can. So I'm going to start off by showing you my projects and how much progress I made on them. So first is Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs, and I'm going to insert a little stop motion video of my 3 hours of progress here. And then I'll just show you where I'm at, which I haven't stitched on this since then, so this is basically where it ended. So I love that little border detail there. It's really cool. Really enjoying this still. It's such a pretty design. And I'm back to stitching the border again just because there's so much of it, and I think I'm gonna maybe scroll down a little bit and do some of the bottom border before I finish the middle, just because I get a little bored with the giant acorn border. I mean, it's gorgeous and I'm not complaining, but it's just, you know, it's a little bit of a tedious stitch because it's so slow. So that's my plan. This is 40 count macchiato. I'm using all of the called for colors, except that I'm using no, pumpkin, no, toffee. It's supposed to be pumpkin, and I'm using Gentle Art toffee. 1 strand over 2. It's still awesome. This was my birthday start, in case you're new here. I'm really enjoying it. So, looking forward to getting back to that one. Wondering, I think I can finish this before the fall comes. It's my hope. And then, so that was hours 1 through 3. And what I did was I just counted an hour's worth of stitching. Not that it was like 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., but I did other stuff. Like, it was just like 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. of stitching, or 8:30 to 9:30, however it was an actual hour. I don't know how people count stitches and do it quickly. Is there a quick way to count your stitches? Because part of the reason I don't is just because I don't want to spend the time. Like, it's easy to count time, but to me, counting stitches is hard. I mean, obviously, if you're doing something full coverage, that's pretty easy, but is there a way to quickly count without, if you're not doing full coverage? Let me know if you know. So anyway, that's why I didn't count stitches. So that's hours 1 through 3, starting on Friday. And I got in like 2 hours on Friday and then 1 hour Saturday morning. And then I moved on to the American flag quilt sampler, and I'll insert a video here, stop motion, of my progress. So unfortunately there was some frogging involved because those eyelets are just, well, they're not hard, but when they're offset, they're hard. So on the end, you can see that the top and bottom of the N, maybe you can't see because it's dark. I don't know if you can see, but basically it's offset from the rest of the eyelets in that row. And I don't know why that was hard for me, but it was hard for me. And so I would screw up and line it up incorrectly, and I had to rip out like 8 eyelets again, which was discouraging, but I'm getting faster at ripping out eyelets on 40 count, so I guess there's one upside to that. So as I was stitching this, so one thing, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, I have to stitch this upside down because this thing is so long that there's just no room anymore on my couch. I mean, there's room I could scoot, but it's just not working. So I stitched this upside down. It works fine. And this says 1. It's gonna say 1 and then a nation, etc. on a different row. And I kept hearing 1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever do over and over again in my head because I'm stitching the word 1. And so I don't know, you know, I've got a little bit more of the E to stitch and then the rest of the row, and I'm like, maybe I need to make a playlist of songs that have 1 in the title that do not include that song, and to try to get it out of my head that way. So I'm contemplating the possibility of making a little playlist for the rest of this row because it's kind of depressing after a while thinking about that. This is the American flag quilt sampler. It was my birthday start last year. The hashtag, if you want to join in on the stitch along, is AFQSAL. I changed many of the colors. This is Soft Ivory by Zweigart. Do I need to tell you anything else? Oh, I meant to mention that there's an error in some of the charts, luckily not mine. I did not know that there was, but well, actually there's several. Luckily I don't seem to have that version of the chart, but just an FYI, you can go into Karen Kluba's website, Rosewood Manor, look up the charts that have mistakes and check to see if yours has the mistakes. It's pretty obvious pretty quickly. I think you'll know pretty quickly if you have them or not if you go check that. Like, some of the mistakes would be quick to pick out once you read what the things are. I can't imagine not having errors in a chart this big. If you open up the chart, you know, I've been watching Priscilla and Chelsea. Chelsea talks about one of the designs she's stitching being an atlas. It's a huge map, basically. Yeah, it's similar. Well, probably even bigger because this is just like a huge piece. Anyway, I stitched on that for 3 hours. I think I stitched for like 1 or 2 hours, took a break, did other stuff, and came back to it. And I'm still feeling good about the eyelets. I think as the project goes on and I'm doing more of them, they might get tedious, so I might have to like stitch some of the quilt blocks in between as I'm stitching the row of eyelets, just to kind of keep it interesting. And okay, so that was project number 2. Project number 3 was a new start, and I decided to start Jenny's Berries in a Basket. And I'd mentioned this a couple videos back that I'd purchased it. It was released on my birthday. So I'm going to insert a video here of my progress. And I'll link the pattern below in case you want to go check it out. So here's what I have so far. This is, you know, basically a strawberry blossom. This is where I ended. So this is my new stitching in hand project. I'm trying to do one project in hand. I mentioned last time, I think, that I was going to attempt that, and I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But the reason I'm stitching this one in hand is because I finished the other project that I was stitching in hand. So this is 40 count macchiato. I'm stitching 1 over 2, and I plan to use the called for flosses, but I am changing the white. I had to change it to B5200. I needed something a little bit whiter to show up on this fabric because I think it was 3865 just wasn't quite bright enough for my particular fabric. The frog visited me a little bit on this one too because apparently I have trouble counting, and Jenny was like, well, if it makes you feel better, I have trouble counting on my own designs, and I have the same problem on my own designs. I can't count and I screw stuff up. So it is universally a problem regardless of whose designs I'm stitching that I will screw them up. So this is looking super, super sweet. I'll give you another little close up. So I'm enjoying that. It's a nice summer, spring piece. I'm going to do the robins on top of the basket rather than the cardinals. That's included in the design, the option to do 3 different kinds of birds. Okay, so that was project number 3, and I did 3 hours on that. I did 2 hours Saturday evening and 1 hour Sunday morning. And then I had wanted to do like an hourly video check-in, like what Jen has done in the past, but I just couldn't get it together enough to do that, so I didn't. But the stop motion video I thought was a good compromise. So lastly, I worked on Where There Are Bees, and I only got 1 hour in during the technically 48 hours of the marathon. It's called 24 hours of cross stitch, but we had 48 hours to try to get in 24 hours of stitching and also sleep. So 1 hour in the morning before I went to Pittsburgh, and then I did 2 more hours the next morning, Monday morning. So let me show you the progress that I made over that entire 3 hours, even though it wasn't all in the marathon time frame. Okay, so Where There Are Bees, no progress, but I'm just showing you, no progress since then, but I'm just showing you what it looks like. This is really remarkably fast. I feel like when I did Rabbit Run, it just took forever, and that like pretty much every other prairie schooler I do takes forever, but this one is not taking forever. And for that, I'm grateful. This was my May start for the A Very Prairie Year stitch along, which I'm doing with Barbie and Helen. And I don't think I'll start a June project. I think I'll just keep stitching on this in the hopes that I can finish it perhaps this month or early next month. And then I'm debating what to start next. I want to say this is 32 count, Weeks Dye Works, linen in the colorway linen. And I have changed all of the floss colors. Every single one, but there's only 4, so that's pretty easy. Okay, so back to what I was saying. What the heck was I talking about? Oh, what am I gonna do? So I think I might, I'm debating about my July start for A Very Prairie Year SAL, which by the way, you can join us anytime. You just pick a project from the Prairie Schooler that you want to stitch. You can stitch any month you want, or no months, or 1 month, whatever. Well, I guess you have to stitch a month in order to be in the SAL, clearly. But you can start any day, you can pick any project, and then you just hashtag it A Very Prairie Year SAL, and that makes you part of the SAL. So I'm going to start a new one, I think, in July, and my dilemma is, do I start July, like the actual July project, the sampler, And do I want to do that, or do I want to stitch one of the little samplers, the little narrow ones, the garden series I have, and I really want to stitch that. I've wanted to for quite a while. So I'm feeling torn. I would like to do July because I have like a finishing idea for those monthly pieces. If you've been watching for a while, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if not, that's okay. I'll show you eventually when I get enough of them done. The Halloween. Once fall comes, you'll see what I got going on. Anyway, if I would keep working on that, those designs, I could probably next year sometime, maybe by the end of the year, have that seasonal display for the whole year like done, which would be awesome. But, you know, what's calling to me is not necessarily that at the moment. So I don't know what to do. Maybe I can have 2 starts. I am thinking, okay, so, should I jump ahead? I'll jump ahead for a second and talk about a plan. I'm going to have a summer solstice start. I was thinking of something small and probably with thy needle and thread because I have not stitched Brenda Gervais yet and I really want to. So I could do the bird with the strawberries, a little circular design, or I could do the Where Liberty Dwells. Or I could theoretically start a Prairie Schooler. I don't know. I'll think about it some more. I'll overthink it some more and let you know. Okay, so back to keeping things in order. Is there anything else I wanted to say about the whips? No. Okay, so I had finishes. I had a lot of finishes for me anyway. It seems like a lot. What I'm really excited about is that I finally got Sally Spencer framed. I rewarded myself after my jury duty experience with some time. That was my gift to myself, was time to stretch this and get it framed. And I just love it. I looked at different colored frames. There was a frame that was kind of dark green, similar to the Dark Green Project. I tried black. I tried some gold frames. They really didn't work. But this one was the only one. It has like a really nice warm undertone that's slightly red. And I just thought it made the colors sing and just brought them out really nicely. And I also liked the detail in the frame. That kind of viney flower. I thought it brought out the shape of the piece well, like the viney flowers on the design. So this just seemed, and the gold rim here, just seemed to be the perfect frame for it. This is actually the same frame that I used when I framed my mom's girl and goat cross stitch last summer. It's a bit of a pricey frame. I knew that going into it, and it was, but it was worth it. So I'm just super thrilled with how this came out. And I've really been enjoying having it on display and reminding myself to get stuff done. So I wanted to mention that I believe you cannot get this from Hoffman anymore. I think I checked the website and didn't see it any longer, whereas I thought recently that I had seen it there. So it's out of print. And if you're wanting to get it, you may want to do that soon before it gets more difficult to purchase. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have this chart, so maybe it never will be that expensive to purchase used. I don't know. But just if you've been wanting to get it, you might want to do that soon. Okay. So that was one fully finished object. I had one more, which was started and finished since last time. So I did go with In Your Face Orange for this doily. I did take it to Memorial Day with me. And I used a smaller than recommended crochet hook because I'm a loose crocheter. I don't recall, maybe a 1.25 hook, and this is size 10 crochet cotton. This is an Aunt Lydia's orange crochet cotton. So this was a pretty easy project. And so I worked on it at Memorial Day, I worked on it at jury duty, I worked on it on the way to Pittsburgh. Has lots of memories. I couldn't do it the whole time during jury duty because it required counting and I had to listen to the various things and you know, so that in case I got called up again, I could answer. Anyway, I think it turned out awesome. So I'm happy to have, it really put me in the mood to crochet more doilies, although I also got a little bit bored at some point too. So I don't know, maybe I shouldn't make any more doilies for a little bit. I probably should take a break. But I did start like looking around on Ravelry and in my stash, my pattern stash, for more doilies to crochet. I used to do doilies more and I really enjoyed them. But then I see a lot of doilies in antique shops. I got a little depressed thinking, well, these are all that's where all mine will go someday because I don't have kids. And I very much doubt that any of my nieces and nephews will want them. I felt a little sad about it. So I was like, well, maybe you shouldn't make so many. But I do like them. And as long as I enjoy them, I guess that's all that matters. It doesn't matter where they go after I'm done enjoying them. And who wouldn't want this? Yeah, anyway, this was a fun project. And I'll link it below in case you're interested in crocheting it as well. This is called something. I don't remember what the actual name of this was. Jack in the Web. Okay, it's on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. Lastly, I started that. So on Memorial Day, I was going to start the crow design, and I was going to stitch it in hand if you were watching before, and I didn't have time. So I started it like 2 days later. I think it was on like Wednesday maybe, and I finished it this week or last week. So not sure, maybe a week and a half or less that it took me. I wasn't stitching on it every day, but it went pretty quickly, and I did stitch this in hand with the sewing method. These are all DMC. All the called for colors except I changed the red and the blue. I showed those options in my last video. I ended up keeping the cream, the color that she had it originally, because it showed up better. This was a fun stitch. It's really cute. I'm really happy with it. This is 36 count macchiato, and I felt like the coverage, I expected the coverage to not be as much as I wanted. I felt like it was pretty good except in the brown here, the Prairie Schooler brown. 3371. Actually, you can't tell here, but it is more, the coverage isn't as good as I tend to like, or as I prefer. So it looks a little bit more primitive, which I was good with because, I mean, that's kind of how the design looks anyway. But it made me switch to 40 count for the other design. And that is, it is harder to stitch the sewing method on 40 count. It just is. So this was definitely faster and easier than that. So that's a little bit of a dilemma. I'm going to keep going and then I'm going to think about it some more. But yeah, I did find that the sewing method is faster. It still hurts my hand to hold the fabric in my left hand while I'm stitching. My hands cramp up, so I'm trying to be more conscious about loosening my grip on the fabric, but I do have to hold it. I tried using a compression glove. I didn't really feel like that did anything for me. So I don't know what my problem is, but yeah. So I'm debating how to finish this. I could do it as a pillow, which is how it's finished in the pattern. I'll link this pattern below where you can purchase it on Etsy. Or what would be cool, I also thought, it would be to have it be a flat kind of ornament thing, not necessarily finished to hang, but have it be flat, and then maybe have it go up and then be like circular at the top. I don't know. So I'm going to mull that over a little bit and overthink that too, but that's what I'm thinking about. I guess it kind of depends on the spacing of the design. I'll have to, maybe I can cut out a piece and see if it looks like it'll actually look good that way. So I don't really know also where I want to display this, like if I want to put it in my tiered tray, if I don't know where I want to put it. So that's part of the problem too, because that might help me to figure out how to finish it if I knew where I wanted to put it. Okay, so that was my last finish. And what else do I want to talk about? Let's talk about my plans. So I mentioned the summer solstice start. Let me just go get the Prairie Schooler charts that I was talking about. Alrighty. So I could do the with the needle and thread patterns I was talking about for the summer solstice. And this one is like really, I think it would be fast and satisfying, which is why I'm like, that's probably a good idea. And this one I've been in love with since it came out at market. so it's also a good candidate. It would obviously take a bit longer. I would probably go with a bluer red because I tend to like bluer reds a little bit more, although, I don't know, well, we'll see. I'll have to play around with it if I'd want to stitch this, I just don't know if it'll be this year. So one of these two would be a summer solstice start, possibly. I could consider starting a prairie schooler for the summer solstice or just next month. July was one of the ones that I wanted to put on my window display, the sampler. Or I really, really want to stitch one of these. So I should probably do this, huh? I think it would be between this one, and it's probably going to be that one that I would start with, although I think I'd want to stitch both of them. I just love this. I love all of these sampler designs. These are so, so cute. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to do, I want you to do this for the summer solstice, and then do one of these, the one on my left. Is that the same for you? I don't know. That one there next month, once I finish Where There Are Bees, which means I have to finish Where There Are Bees, right? Okay, so that's one plan. Here's another plan. Let's have more starts. Now that I can stitch in hand, maybe I can have more starts. And maybe I'm like really hoping my scroll rods come soon, because it's been a few weeks since I ordered them, and it would enable me to start more things if I could have them, just because I can't stitch everything in hand. Anyway, I propose a stitch along. I purchased this several months back, you may remember, and I had some requests to do a stitch along, but at the time I just couldn't manage another stitch along. I think I can handle it now. It's the summer. So I propose a stitch along from this book. Please join me if you'd like. This is The Magic of Christmas to Cross Stitch, and it's by Veronique Anjanger, I think. I should have checked, I guess, the pronunciation first. I only had a semester of French, and it was a 2.5-week intensive French course. Anyway, I want to stitch something from this. And so my proposal is that the stitch along starts July 1st and goes through the end of the month. You pick anything from this book and you stitch it. You can do more than one thing. You can just do one thing. You can pick any day that you want to start it. But I love the designs in this book. I did a flip through in an earlier video, so you can always go back to check that. It wasn't like a standalone video. It was just part of it when I purchased it that I shared. So I have picked a page. There's 3 designs on here that I would like to stitch. Well, there's more than 3, but it's going to be one of these 3. So I'm either going to do that one, or that one. I probably will start it on July 1st. And depending on how I feel, maybe I'll do more than one. I'll just see how it goes. But that's my plan, to do at least one of these in the month of July. Feel free to join me. I would love to have you join me. The hashtag that I came up with is Magic of Christmas SAL. So please join me. I think it'd be really fun to stitch from this book. And then you could also like double hashtag it for all the different other Christmas stitch alongs that are going on in July, so you can make multiple use of it. This book is full of awesome, awesome charts and patterns. But those were just like the 3 that were most calling to me right now. So that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so that's plan number 2. I'm hearing, this is a not stitching plan, but I just had to tell you this because I'm excited. I love Nora Jones. I have since, I don't know, early 2000s, whenever she came out with the album Come Away With Me. So she's going to be playing in Pittsburgh next Tuesday, and we are going to hear her, and I'm really excited because I've never seen her in concert, and I can't wait. I didn't know she had a new album out. I'm usually pretty up on that, but I didn't know. So I assume I need to like listen to it, and also I just can't wait. She's awesome. So that's a plan for next week. And then another plan or current thing is that I surpassed 3,000 subscribers. And so I'm going to do a giveaway. The giveaway is starting now, and it will go through it closes June 28th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. I will choose 3 winners. And to be entered into the well, I'll tell you what it is and then you can find out how to enter. So each winner will be able to receive a piece of my hand-dyed fabric. They can choose the color and the base. So linen and what count, or Ada and what count, assuming it's a base I already have, or Lugana or Linda. So if it's like a count I don't carry, or like Jobelin I don't have, I can't do that. But anything that I do normally, and in a color I would normally dye, not a solo, you can pick a piece of that and get a fat eighth. So 3 people will be eligible to win a piece of fabric of their choosing and 1 chart that's in stock from my shop. So when I contact the winners, each winner can look in my shop and choose a chart that's listed there, and that will be their gift as well. So thank you so much. You know, when I started doing this, I never really imagined getting to the point where 3,000 people would watch my videos. So that's pretty amazing, and you guys have been just awesome to get to know. Thanks for being with me on this journey. And so just as a way to say thank you, I'd like to do this giveaway. So to enter the giveaway, like I said, I'll choose 3 winners. Please comment on this video. You do need to comment on the video. Tell me what your superpower is. And you can think of that how you like. It's just, what is something that you're really good at? Like really good at. And it can be either something that you think you're really good at or that other people have told you you're really good at. For example, maybe you are really good at gardening and you never kill any plants. Or maybe you're really good at hospitality and you just make people feel super welcome when they're around you or they come to your house. Or if you're like me, one of my superpowers is I'm really good at noticing things. I notice stuff a lot. Not that I'm like 100% on the ball all the time, but I notice like just stuff in my surroundings. And so one of my superpowers is noticing things. So what is your superpower? Like I said, it can be anything. Maybe you're like really good at coupon cutting and finding like all the best deals. Maybe you find all the really good books to read. You're really good at recommending things to people. You know, tell me about your superpower. And I want to say that I try really hard to always reply to people's comments, sometimes not in as timely a manner as I would like. But when I did the last giveaway, I had a hard time keeping up with the comments. And I think probably realistically, I won't be able to reply to every comment that comes in. So I will just like your comment, and if I have some time or if you ask a question, I'll try to answer it. But please know I do appreciate your comments and I appreciate the time you take, but I probably won't be able to reply just because a lot more comments than normal come in and I've been pretty busy. So just to let you know, I'll like it and then you'll know that I saw it and that I appreciated your taking the time to comment. So also, in order to enter the giveaway, you need to be 18. Please do not mention giveaway in your comment. It does not matter if you live in the United States or if you live outside the United States. Please like the video and please be a subscriber or become a subscriber. I think that's all for the giveaway. Hopefully I remembered everything. Okay, so a couple of things. I received a gift from Melanie. She had an extra of this chart and man, it's awesome. So she sent me this. Isn't that so pretty? I love that little bird. I would really like to stitch this soon. It's so, so pretty. And I never noticed this chart before. I mean, I know that when you design a lot, it's hard to, you know, if someone designs a lot like Paulette, it's hard to like know her entire catalog unless you're like really huge, like hugely aware of every design that comes out. So I'm sure there are people out there who know like every single one of her designs. I just didn't. This one is awesome and it escaped my notice. I'm not very articulate today. It feels like hard expressing myself. The other thing that I got, I went to Home Goods, which is always like a risk because I probably will come home with something. There are times when I don't, but I came home with this and I thought, I can almost get it in the picture here. I thought this would be great for something cross stitch related. Helen, are you getting your keys to the car and going to Home Goods right now as you see this? And then I was thinking maybe putting something floral in here. I could see putting like maybe a hand woven towel and something else in here. I don't even know. I mean, there's so many things that could go on here. Some of the chalk series from Hands On Design could look really awesome in here. Hands On Design and Priscilla Blaine. That could look really nice. I wish, when I looked at this, I was initially thinking of it for Sunflower Manor, but it's the wrong shape because that one is like taller, not wider. That the subsequent designs, the more recent collaborations, I think have been wider. But I'm still looking for something. I really want to stitch Sunflower Manor, and I just haven't found the right finishing thing for it. Maybe I'll just have to do what Priscilla did because I'm not seeing what I want. But this is awesome. And this was $20 at Home Goods. You know, when you go to a Home Goods, you don't necessarily, they don't all have the same stuff. So you may not see this at your Home Goods if you have one. Okay. From the archives, bringing this back out from last year. If you've been watching for a while, you'll remember that I stitched this last year and finished it. It was my first Blackbird Designs piece, and it certainly wasn't going to be my last. This was stitched on 32 count Confederate gray linen from Weeks. I used most of the called for colors, but I did use some of the DMC substitutions. And I think I changed the red to be more red. And in the initials, I put both of my initials. I like moved things around slightly so that I could fit both initials in. So I love this. I love having it on display. It makes me so happy having it out. I just changed my decorating yesterday. Oh my gosh. I've been wanting to do that for like a month. And I just haven't had time. And it literally, I'm so behind on things. It literally took me like about 7 hours to clean my living room, put things away, change out my decorations. And I don't even have that much like summer decor or spring decor, which is what I was changing it from. And then organize floss, because with all the stitching and designing I've been doing, there's just like, there was floss everywhere. So I spent pretty much an entire day and I still didn't finish with the floss. Like I'm almost done. I got to organize some of my floss that I design with still. Part of it is that I bought like all the rest of the DMC floss that I was missing to have a complete set, which still didn't take that long. But I mean, it was just a mess. I can't let things go that long. It was just not good. So it's one of those things, like I'm constantly trying to retrain myself to put things away, but sometimes I'm so busy, you know, or there's just not an obvious place to put something, but then it just piles up after, especially during the school year when I'm teaching too. Yeah. Anyway, I'm happy to have all my decor changed out. And so that was my From the Archives. And then just a little bit about the shop. So I'm going to postpone my update just a little bit because I'm finalizing my new color. And I decided to use it for an upcoming design that I'll probably be releasing next year. So I've been trying to get it just right to fit that design. And then it's coming up so close to my release of a new design that it just didn't make sense to do them separately. I might as well just combine everything. So it'll be a fairly large update, but it'll be a bit longer. And so please, if you want to be notified of the update, the best way is to sign up for my newsletter. There's a link below the video in the description where you can find it to sign up. If you have any trouble signing up, you can just send me an email and I will sign you up. But I can't, I don't have time to notify people individually, so the newsletter is the best way to be notified. And what I'll do this time is I'll send it out the day before the update, letting you know what time the update will be. And then hopefully that'll help you get the fabric that you'd like. And is that all about that? I think so. And then I have a few new things in the shop. Well, I got a shipment of patterns from Hands On Design. So I thought I'd show you some of the things that came in. Some of them are brand new releases and some of them are patterns that she already has released, but I just really liked them and wanted to get them. So I'm in a bee mood. So this is a block party design. It's called Buzz. It's so cute. And it comes with the felted wool that goes on top of your pincushion. This is so sweet. So I got a couple of these. There's another bee design that I got. And I also got in Star Spangled Swine Farm, which is super cute. It's hard to pick like which one, you know, to even start with, but probably, oh man, I just really dig that finish. I would probably start there. So this would go really well on that piece I showed. Well, would it? Is it too tall? Oh, I'll have to do some measuring. Maybe this is something that I should put on that sign I just showed you. And then of course I got in the new Scary Apothecary, all 3 of those charts. So now I have 6 of them. This is of course my favorite because of the kitties. I'm still trying to figure out when I can start this. I'm trying to put off starting too many Halloween things just as yet, but it's hard to resist all of the Halloween. And I was thinking of stitching all of them on one piece of fabric, but somehow that's very intimidating. So now I'm thinking maybe I don't stitch it all on one piece of fabric. But I think what it is it feels like if I stitch them all on one piece of fabric, then I never have a finish until I've stitched all of them. But if I stitch them on separate pieces of fabric, somehow mentally I can count that as a finish. I know that's dumb, but that's how my brain seems to be working when I'm thinking about it. The thought of all of them on one piece of fabric is overwhelming, but just doing one on one piece of fabric seems not overwhelming. The tricks I play with myself. Okay, that's, I think, everything. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you've been having a great summer if you are experiencing summer, and a great fall winter if you are in the Southern Hemisphere. I will be back in a couple of weeks, and I hope you have lots of stitching and no frogging. Take care. Bye-bye.